Hi there, Sandra here from Create in Spain. I've got a card that I want to do today and I've decided to make it a patterned card by using plain card and putting my own pattern on it. And I thought you might be interested in how I created this random pattern. It's actually extremely easy, good fun, takes no skill whatsoever, and even children would enjoy doing this. What you want is something like this. Now this is something akin to what I used to know as plasticine as a kid. Over here in Spain, you get it in all the craft shops. It's in all the Chinese shops. It's really cheap. It's in every colour imaginable. It doesn't dry out when it's left unwrapped. It stays soft and malleable. And it's quite therapeutic to squish it around sometimes, but I use it for all sorts of things. Now what you want to do is to make it into a ball or an oval, whatever. And you just use this with your ink pads, dip in the ink pad, dip on the paper. And of course you get more than one image out of one dip. It gradually fades off and you can change colours and do whatever you like. It's a bit of fun. It creates something entirely random and you can obviously change the shape if you wish. You can make it into log shapes or circular shapes, whatever, up to you, but it's a bit of fun. After that, I spritzed it with my homemade shimmer spray, so I'm going to have to leave this to dry for a while because I want to put a piece of acetate behind it. I've already kiss cut my sentiment. Have a perfect day. For those of you who need to know what kiss cutting is, let me explain. You have, in my case on this particular card, a piece of acetate. You then put a piece of vinyl over the top of it. Now this vinyl is stuck to the acetate. You're probably thinking, huh, what? Have no fear. If you have a scan and cut DX, you have a half cut function. Now the text, whether you choose your text or the text that I put in the file, it's entirely up to you what you're doing. But for example, say you have something like this. Okay. You send it to the cutter with the acetate and the vinyl over the top of it. You switch off, if you're using canvas, you switch off this outer line for the time being. It doesn't matter if your vinyl is the same size as that or if it's smaller. You just need to know that there's enough there for cutting out your words. So it goes to the cutter with the acetate on the base, the vinyl stuck to it on the top. You put your cutter on half cut setting. It will then cut the hello or whatever words that you've put into it, and you then switch this off. You switch the words off once you know they're properly cut. You switch the words off and you cut the outside piece to get your acetate. When it's cut, you take it away from the mat and you peel off all the excess vinyl. And if I were you, I would start by peeling off the centres of any letters because those are always the most awkward to find. And they're inclined to get left behind if you don't peel them off soon. So peel those off first and then you hold your acetate down on one side and you slowly peel off your vinyl, and you will be left with the words on your acetate. And that is exactly how I did that. Now this perfect is very, very fine. If I had to weed it and then to put it onto tape and then transfer it, there's a chance, because it's so fine, I would end up messing it up. But by kiss cutting it on top of the plastic, the vinyl sticks to the plastic quite nicely. The blade will cut through into the acetate just about, but it won't cut through the acetate. And then you just peel off the excess and it leaves you with perfect lettering. It's easier to do it that way than it is to transfer it if you are not used to transferring vinyl, and particularly small or very delicate lettering. that can easily get stuck to itself or the rest of the vinyl or move or whatever. It will stick much better to plastic to start with, and then you won't have the difficulty in weeding it. And I'm going to be putting this in the window there, but obviously I need this to be properly dry before I do that, because otherwise the adhesive isn't going to stay stuck. I'm going to put a cloth over the top. It is clean, I know it's stained, but it is a clean cloth. And just put something reasonably heavy over the top of that. And I'm just going to go leave it until I'm ready to make my card. So I let this dry overnight. I don't know if you can see the sparkle on camera, but it's got a lovely sparkle to it. Now I did put this outer line around here, which I've made a bit of a mess of, I admit. If I had thought I was going to do that before, I would have done it on my machine. And I didn't think of it at the time. I've got my sentiment here on my acetate strip, and I've put some double-sided tape around the opening here so that I can line this up just by putting this over the top. Now I'm going to do this off camera because I can't stick my head right over the top of it, and I'll probably get it skewed if I don't. Okay, so that's done. Now at this point I have a decision to make. I have to decide whether I want to just leave it with a window or whether I want to make it into a shaker, and I think I decided to make it into a shaker card. So just turn it over, take my piece of acetate, which for some reason has just developed lots of various splodges of things on it, and I don't know quite what, so I need to clean this off. I have found that the easiest thing to use to clean it is window cleaner and not alcohol. For some reason, alcohol tends to leave smudges where the window cleaner doesn't. I've no idea why, particularly. You'd thought that alcohol was probably the better way to go, but it generally doesn't seem to be. That is ready to be stuck on there. Now, there's a couple of ways you could do it: with double-sided tape, with foam tape, or indeed you could do it with hot glue. It just depends on your preference. And I've decided to go for some very simple decoration. I've got these beautiful metallic-y stars. And it will move very slightly, but most of them will stay in the background and give a lovely spark. This is my finished card. All I've done is taken some images. I've done the hard work for you because I took the images from Pixabay and I've put the cut lines around the outside. So if you have a scan and cut, all you have to do is to print them. Once they're printed, you can just scan them and cut them out. So this makes this an ideal card for those people new to the scan and cut. Okay, so I mounted them on foam, and the other mistake that I made, apart from messing up this outer line, and I completely forgot to do this, I was going to put one of my cats behind the window, and I left it too late. I only realised it when I'd stuck the front panel on that I hadn't done it, so that's what I intended to do. But this will be a nice simple card for beginners to make, but it still looks as if you've taken an awful lot of trouble to do it. Thanks for watching. I will see you again soon. Take care now.